Hi guys, so let's address the elephant in the room. I did change my hair, so now that it's out of the way, I am here today to tell you about my monthly favorites. But before we get into the video, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is once again very kindly Skillshare. So by now you know Skillshare because I rave about them all the time, but it's because Skillshare really is a great community full of amazing people that want to share their knowledge and their experiences with you. They have classes ranging from arts to creation to cooking to having plants inside to organizing your finances. Everything is on Skillshare, and if you want to try it out for free, you can do that by being one of the first 1,000 people to click on the link down below. It's a great opportunity. I wouldn't miss out on this if I were you, and I will also recommend some of the classes throughout the video, so keep an eye open for that. Thank you, Skillshare. And I want to start with random things. So as you may know, Paris has entered spring and is slowly but surely walking or doing whatever it is towards summer, and it's been quite amazing. It is really hot, and I feel that I will be complaining about this in a few days or a few weeks at best, but it's been just amazing to see all the trees and the flowers, and the days are obviously longer now, so I've been enjoying this a lot and going out, and I recently had my friends over as well, so that was so good. Definitely a monthly favorite. Then I have started cooking again a lot more, and I have been really enjoying it. I did an apricot pie, baked kind of an apricot pie recently, and it was so good. So summery and juicy and sour but sweet at the same time. Definitely a huge favorite. Also had my first strawberries, really nice. So basically just summer fruits. I also started buying myself some flowers. That's something I never really did, partly because I feel like it's so sad to have flowers because they're gonna die, and also because I watched some documentaries about the flower business that was not really sustainable. But yeah, I don't do it every week. I clearly don't, but sometimes it just feels really nice to have a beautiful bouquet in your home, and that makes me feel better about myself, helps me with, you know, just appreciating life. So that's for you. And last but not least, and I'm not gonna get into detail because I think I will eventually do a video, film a video about that, but I have ordered some Korean vegan skincare products, and oh my god, I have been loving them. So let me know if you're interested in knowing what I use on my skin. Of course I use only vegan products, and I don't use that many things, but yeah, if you're interested, let me know. Now let's get into the books, the movies, the music, and the YouTube. We'll start with the music. I have created for you guys a Spotify playlist, which will be linked down below, with I think 20 songs that I've been listening to a lot the past month or so. It is very, what would I say, diverse, and it's also very different from every playlist that I've seen shared by other online creators, so beware. This is not the typical playlist, but you know, I hope that some of you will enjoy it. And I've been listening a lot to Paramore. I don't know why, I never really liked Paramore when I was a teenager. I kind of rediscovered them when I was a bit older, and I don't like their early stuff too much. I feel like it's a bit too angsty, kind of teenage-like, even though I do like teenage-like songs, whatever that means. But their later work I do enjoy. I have been thoroughly enjoying and listening to the Gazette latest album, which is called Mass, and it's such a wonderful album. I've never been let down and disappointed by any album that they produced. So yeah, it's so nice because it's such an amazing and talented band. They always have this very unique identity to them, but every album that they come up with is also somehow different and new. So it's like the best of both worlds. You have the atmosphere and the identity that you like in an artist, but you also get to grow with them and see them evolve and try out new things. So really, really recommend that. If you're into Japanese music, and if you are mostly into metal and hard rock, even though some of their songs are a bit more on the mellow and calm side, but it's, you know, if you don't like that type of music, you won't like their album. I've been listening to The Rose and Day 6 a lot. There are two Korean bands that are mostly indie rock kind of bands, I would say. Love them. What can I say? And yes, I have been listening to a lot of SHINee and a lot of Taemin, and I have thoroughly enjoyed the last mini album that Taemin put out before leaving for the army. Shall I continue with books? So actually, I don't have many books to tell you about, unfortunately. I have had really good reads and I've read quite a bit. I've read, I think, about 11 books or so in May, so that's good. But I don't think I've had any like amazing kind of book that stood out. And the ones I really enjoyed the most have not been translated into English, so I don't think that's really interesting to share them with you. However, I have discovered a Japanese female writer whose name is Ariyoshi Sawako, and she's been translated into English, I think. And this is not a new read by any means, but I reread, as I frequently do, Alcohol by Apollinaire, or Alcohol by Apollinaire, which is a poetry collection that was published in the early 20th century by Guillaume Apollinaire. It's one of my absolute favorite poetry collection. It is beautiful. It is a very, very influential piece of work in literature, very modern, and it inspired many writers after him. So every time I pick this book up, I'm like, wow, that's so good, that's so beautiful, I love it. Some of my absolute favorite poems in there. So if you've never read anything by him, and if you've never read his poetry, I would highly, highly encourage you to discover it. I wanted to tell you a bit more about the movies. So I organized a Japanese spring on my literary account, which is in French. So we watched Japanese movies, we read Japanese books, and we did only Japanese culture for those 2 months. And we watched a lot of Japanese movies that were all so amazing. I want to talk about one movie, and I want to talk about one director. So I want to talk about Rashomon by Kurosawa. It's an amazing movie. It's in black and white. It is a classic of Japanese cinema. It is so interestingly filmed and directed. I absolutely love this movie. This might not be everybody's cup of tea because it is quite old and the plot is very hybrid, kind of. It is a mixture of a tale but also a mixture with a whodunit sort of story, and it also kind of reminds me of the very samurai inspired movies. So maybe not for everybody, but I loved it. And the director I want to talk about is very well known, very famous. This is probably not gonna be a discovery for anybody, but I want to talk about it, or about him rather. I love Koreeda. He is amazing. We watched a Shoplifters and Afterlife, and I watched other movies by him. Loved absolutely all of them. I love everything about his movies, really everything. So it just felt like the right thing to mention him in my monthly favorites. If you've never watched any of his movies, go watch them. Shoplifter is amazing. Our Little Sister is amazing. Afterlife is amazing. Nobody Knows is amazing. Everything is amazing. So yeah, we are left with YouTube. I have been binge watching Leah Fields' notes. She's really well known. She has like a big YouTube channel, and she talks about vegan food, learning languages, mental health, getting your life together. She films vlogs mostly, and she lives in Montreal, I think. I don't know, I just really love her videos. It's been really comforting for me. I've been really getting back into vlogs, don't know why, but they feel really cozy, comforting, interesting and inspiring, so I would highly suggest you check her out if you've never heard of her, which I highly doubt though. Another Canadian, even though he is in Quebec, Emil, he has done several videos in which he keeps tracks of the books he reads, and he reads them at a really high speed or path, whatever it is, like 23 or 21 books in a month was his last video. And I really like the way he talks about books, and I think it's so refreshing to see, let's be honest, to see a guy who's not like a literature teacher, who's not studying literature, read that much and talk about books and be moved by books. So his videos are in French. I don't know if they have English subtitles, but just in case, I wanted to share that with you. Then I did watch a few videos that had all in common the theme. So it was not like a specific YouTuber or anything, but they're entitled I Do Not Dream of Labor Anymore. And it's basically what it says. It is about, you know, not having a career goal, not having a dream job, and focusing on other things in life, and how all of that is linked to capitalism. And I've been really enjoying these videos. Some of them are more interesting than others, some of them are more politicized than others. Either way, I always find something in them, and that's a subject that I've been really interested in lately. I will potentially talk about it at some point. Last but not least, oh my god, I have discovered a channel which has amazing videos if you want to learn Japanese. It's a guy that does whatever he does in a normal day, and he films it, records it, and you have English and Japanese subtitles with the audio. So like, for example, a video I watched recently, he was just hanging out with a guy friend, and they were chatting, and he would be like, oh yeah, I'm going to take the east exit, and oh, meeting his friend, how are you, what are you doing, blah 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 blah. And so you have the Japanese, of course, like real Japanese, spoken by real Japanese people, not the audiobooks and all that stuff. And you have the English subtitles, and you also have the Japanese subtitles. So that's so clever. I love the idea. I would actually love doing that in French if I had the time, because that must take so long. But that's such a great idea and a great resource if you want to learn Japanese. So definitely a huge favorite for me, and I hope that it can be helpful for some of you as well. That's it. We've done that under 16 minutes, so that's pretty amazing. I hope you enjoyed this monthly favorites. Let me know what are your monthly favorites. There will be all the links down below. The playlist will be down below. And if you've never watched Koreeda's movies, go watch them. Biggest advice of this video, really. I hope you're doing amazingly well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye guys.